What's up guys, and welcome back to another episode of The Ultimate Career. It is now the start of Season 4 of this series, would you believe? Make sure to smash a like if you're happy to see it return. 100 likes on this would be fantastic, so make sure to leave a like and a comment down below. But it's been a few weeks since pre-season testing now, let's see how the teams are getting on. It's been nearly a month now since the teams convened in Jerez for pre-season testing, and that means that a lot of teams have brought upgrades to Australia, but the field at the front at least is looking pretty much the same, with Red Bull, McLaren and Williams looking as if they're the ones to beat. Ferrari, on the other hand, have been very secretive over their pace, with a lot of pundits speculating that they could possibly have been sandbagging, or they could just have genuinely no pace. Just like in Jerez, Caterham and Marussia look as if they're mixing it with the midfield teams, at least in terms of one lap pace, but their cars are looking very unstable, meaning that as the races wear on, they could plummet down the field. Mercedes have been suffering with massive tyre wear issues this weekend, which could hamper their pace, but the car is inherently quick, which could help them as well. So all in all, it is looking very up in the air in terms of the shape of the grid. Nobody knows what to expect from this race weekend, but let's see now how the cars are going to line up for the race in qualifying. So it was the 2011 World Champion Sebastian Vettel who claimed the first pole position of the season, bouncing back from a poor 2012. His teammate Mark Webber will line up on the second row of the grid in third position. Along with Red Bull, Ferrari also had a good qualifying session, with Fernando Alonso splitting the two Red Bulls, showing that they do have genuine pace, but Felipe Massa could only manage 9th. Jenson Button managed to get onto the second row of the grid for McLaren, in 4th position, but it was a disappointing debut for the Mexican Sergio Perez, who could only manage 12th. The third row is an all-Mercedes affair, with Lewis Hamilton out-qualifying his new teammate Nico Rosberg, but the real question would come during the race, whether they would drop down the field as a result of tyre wear. Lotus showed their hand during qualifying, with Romain Grosjean continuing his good 2012 form by securing 7th place, but Kimi Raikkonen couldn't manage to get in the top 10, he will start 11th. Sauber look almost on a par with Lotus, with Nico Hülkenberg qualifying in 8th on the same row as Grosjean, and Esteban Gutierrez had a slightly disappointing session, he'll start 13th. The biggest disappointment of qualifying was definitely Williams, with myself only managing to just scrape inside the top 10 in 10th, and my teammate Sam Bird could only manage 14th. One of the best stories of qualifying was Caterham's Charles Pic. He managed to out-qualify both Force India's, Toro Rosso's and Marussia's in an effort which saw him start 15th, but his teammate Guido van der Garde could only manage 20th. As previously mentioned then, Force India and Toro Rosso start their 2013s poorly, with John-Eric Verne actually starting on the back row of the grid in 21st. There was some encouragement down at Marussia, with Max Chilton starting in 19th place, but unfortunately Jules Bianchi would occupy the back of the grid alongside Verne. It was all lining up then to be a very intriguing Australian Grand Prix. Let's get into the action. So a disappointing qualifying from ourselves leaves us in 10th position, which when you think about it isn't all too bad, at least we're in the top 10. Trying to take the positives. But yeah, just before we get onto the grid, a quick look at the strategy for today's race. It's going to be a 3-stopper, doing 2 prime stints for 10 laps each, and then options for the first 5 and last 5 laps. But now, without further ado, let's get out onto the grid. So the title defence doesn't start in the greatest fashion, but there is plenty of time to change that as we rev up now to the 5 red lights. And away we go for Season 4. Having a look at the front of the grid, both the Mercedes and Romain Grosjean get off well. We get away very poorly with Raikkonen and Gutierrez passing us into turn 1. We're going to go down the inside. Is that going to gain us any positions? It doesn't look like it is. We are in 12th. Gutierrez with a fantastic start. Going down the inside didn't work for us there, but it will be a different story surely going into turn 3. And we do go down the inside. There's contact between Raikkonen and Gutierrez behind us. We managed to take advantage of that. Massa goes around the outside of Hülkenberg. That is a cheeky move. We slot into P9. Hulkenberg slowing us down there, but not too many problems on the first lap. In fact, we do actually manage to gain a position as we run wide there. We're going to take a replay, take a look at the replay of this, and look at the amount of cars going off the circuit there. While Charlie Whiting will not be happy about that in the slightest. But yeah, in P9 and skipping now onto lap 3, you can just see the tyre wear there in the on the right-hand side of the screen. It's looking critical already, so we may be coming in for an early pit stop, but we are already within DRS range, so we open that flap at the back of the car to reduce the drag that our car is inducing. And Hulkenberg there runs wide, so can we take advantage of that? We do run a little bit wide ourselves, but we get a nice exit off turn 2, and we're going to go round the outside now into turn 3, get a little bit on the grass, but a pretty composed move in the end, just about keeping it within the white lines. And that is us up into P8 at a vital time just before our pit stop. So we do have a bit of clean air now. But lap 4, at the end of lap 4 even, the tyres aren't looking great on that on the little gauge. So there's a couple of cars in front of us, and we're going to take advantage of that. One of which being Jenson Button, I believe. But anyway, we're now coming in to the pits, and there's a Ferrari there as well. I believe it's Fernando Alonso. So they're putting the prime tyres on. We're going to hopefully go to lap 14. And then on the second stint, we'll go to lap 24 before doing the final 5 laps on the option tyres. But yeah, the Williams crew served us well there, it has to be said. And we actually come out in 21st place. Only Jean-Eric Vergne is behind us. So yeah, we've got a lot of work to do if we want to get up through the field, but there is plenty of time to go. It'll be interesting also to see how the strategies work out from the rest of the teams, because I believe some will possibly try and do a 2-stopper. But anyway, on to the start of lap 6 now, and we start to gain a few positions, and that is Felipe Massa in front of us. I think we may have lost a little bit of ground in the pit phase. So yeah, I think as the cars start to pit later and later, we'll probably start gaining on them as their tyres do start to wear out. But anyway, we're catching up with Felipe Massa now. We have got our tyres already up to temperature. He is still trying to do that. We're purple through the second sector, and surely we're going to get a run on him now down into the final complex of corners. Going round the outside, he's making us go the long way round, and that is a lovely move round the outside of the nearly man of 2008. And now we go down the inside of the 2009 world champion, and he is off into the gravel. I don't believe there was any contact. We'll take a look at the replay once this little sequence of corners has run out. But yeah, a lot of cars in the pit lane now, and that could be a little bit controversial there, as we saw that incident. But anyway, we are up into P11. We're going to take a look at the replay of that now, and you can see we go down the inside of Button. There is no contact at all. He just runs out wide, and whether he just loses it in the middle of the corner, I don't know, because he just runs out of road into the gravel trap. That is not good at all for the McLaren man. But anyway, for us, it is looking pretty good at the moment. Not for Alonso, though. He gets tangled up behind... Fernando Alonso gets tangled up behind Mark Webber. We're going to take a look down the inside now. A lovely camera shot on the cinematic angle, and we sweep down the inside of the 2-time world champion. Get a bit of a tank slapper on the exit, but overall, not a bad move. Up into the points now as well, which is nice. And we've got a few more cars in the pit lane for their first stops. Adrian Sutil, I believe, being one of them. But anyway, we're up into P6 now, trying to defend from the cars behind, and we just about defend from Alonso. On to lap 8, and you can see we have got Mark Webber in front of us, who did slow down Fernando Alonso, and Sergio Perez in front of him. So Perez is having a very, very good race after starting in P12. So whether he's going for the 2-stopper, I'm not sure. But anyway, we now can see Mark Webber trying to go down the inside of the Mexican, and he backs out of it in traditional F1 2013 style. If you guys remember that, then you're the real OGs of this community. That turn 1, it literally on this game, it's so frustrating. The AI just back out of everything, but we'll take it. It is a position for us nonetheless, and we're up into the top 5 now, so in double figures in terms of points, if it does stay like this. But yeah, on to later on in lap 10, a little bit of a lock-up, but we just about managed to keep it on the racetrack. We want to try and get ahead of Sergio Perez as soon as possible. There is going to be a move surely round the outside here. We get a lovely run past him, and he just backs off. He he knows that the move is done. But if you just look at the minimap there is a bit of carnage going on behind us. And as we take a look at the replay, you can see that Perez gets tagged by Alonso, and he just completely spins him all the way round into the wall. And that has surely got to be a penalty for the Ferrari man. But nonetheless, we are up into P4 as a result of that. Actually, I think it might have been Felipe Massa. I'm not sure. It was either Alonso or Massa anyway. But nonetheless, we are on lap 14 now. And Massa is following us into the pit lane. So under pressure from him, it's going to have to be a big stop from the Williams guys. And sure enough, they do the business. Just over 3 seconds. And we get ahead of Felipe Massa, crucially. And yeah, just about halfway through this race now. Interesting that we've gone for the option stint last. Just almost a little blast to the end on those tyres. But we lose a few positions on the exit of the pit lane. And you can see one of those is Nico Hülkenberg and the other is Fernando Alonso. So that is not too good. We stayed out possibly a little bit too long. I believe Hülkenberg is on the option tyres though, so we've still got that stint to come. But really, we need to try and dispatch of him as soon as possible. That is very disappointing for us into P9. But 3 laps or 2 laps later, in fact, we managed to catch up with Hülkenberg. And I believe it is Adrian Sutil, possibly Paul di Resta at the front of that train. Whoever it is, he pulls off into the pit lane. And yes, it is in fact Paul di Resta, not Adrian Sutil. Kimi Raikkonen is also in the pit lane for his final stop of the afternoon. So those two are on the 2-stop strategy. But we get a beautiful run out of turn 1 and through turn 2. We keep that momentum. Are we going to go around the outside? No, we're going to go down the inside of Nico Hülkenberg. Can we make the move stick? And yes, we do. Lovely little move. No lockup. That is a wonderful move down the inside there, if I do say so myself. Up into P6, and Massa has also got past Hülkenberg. So just look at this, a very, very composed move down the inside, and then Massa takes his opportunity round the outside. Hülkenberg looking visibly flustered, and I think that time Massa did just about keep it within the white lines. But yeah, lap 18, and now this is Adrian Sutil making his final pit stop of the day. So the Force Indias, although their pace isn't looking too good, their tyre wear is looking superb. And yeah, that's Fernando Alonso into the pits with 10 laps to go. So surely he is going to have to go onto the prime tyre to the end, whereas we'll be on the options. So this is our time to shine now. And it is Sebastian Vettel on the exit of the pit lane, but we get a tank slapper on. And really, we don't want to be battling with him too much, because we know that we've still got to make one more pit stop before the end of the race. But we could do with dispatching of him, and there's contact between us and Vettel, and he's just going so slowly as he tries to get his tyres up to temperature. And as I previously said, we could just do with getting past him, because we don't want him to be affecting our tyre wear, because you know, if we stay too close to him, we're going to be we're going to be experiencing that dirty air effect. But end of lap 20, start of lap 21. Surely this is going to be another opportunity to pass him now, as we have the DRS and he doesn't. And once again, a lovely run through turn 2. We're going to open the DRS and we're going to go around the outside of the 2011 World Champion and pole sitter for today's race. And that is a little bit of a lock-up there, but nonetheless, we do manage to get the move done. And that is, well, up into P2. Although we still have another pit stop to do later on in the race. And Lewis Hamilton, in fact, is interestingly enough leading this race. But if you look behind us now, Sebastian Vettel pulls off to the side of the racetrack. That is his race over. The pole sitter is out. He's come across engine troubles, and that is surely going to mean that we gain an extra position. But coming towards the final pit stop now, you can just see how close Massa was behind us, and we still managed to get out ahead of him, which is good. But yeah, final 5 laps of the race now. We have got a lot of work to do, and there's a car just coming in front of us there. And that is in fact Adrian Sutil. So we're down into P6, but we do manage to maintain that on exit. So I think the aim now has just got to be to get top 5. Our tyre wear hasn't been fantastic, and it hasn't been for the Ferraris either. So really, it's just been a good job that we've managed to get ahead of Massa. But Sutil is light work as we go down his inside into turn 1. He just does not have the pace as his tyres are giving up on him. But as we have just 2 laps remaining now, you can see Nico Rosberg 6.4 seconds ahead of us, but we set the fastest lap of the race as Hamilton is going for it at the front as well. And the question now is, can we catch up with Nico Rosberg? It is now the final lap of the Grand Prix, and he is 4.4 seconds ahead. That is now down to 3.5 seconds as we go purple through the first sector, and we can see the train of cars which leads all the way up into second place in front of us. Is it going to be too little too late is the question, and I think the answer is going to be yes, but can we pull off an upset into the final sector? What's the gap now? It's down to 2.6 seconds. Once again, we're purple, and we are pushing the limits of this Williams. And after a poor qualifying, we have more than made up for it with our determination during the race. And I think this race has just ended a lap too soon. As we come towards the penultimate corner, this is really the only chance that we were going to get to pull an overtake into the final sector. And you can just see we're pushing the limits. We've got a corner cutting warning. Shock. But yeah, we come towards the line with -1 lap of fuel. But still, P5, we can be proud of that. We come home for 10 points. And our title defence doesn't get off to the perfect start, but still, we've shown that there is pace in the car to manage to outrace the Ferrari of Felipe Massa all the way throughout, in fact. But there you can see the final race standings, and it was Lewis Hamilton who managed to take the win. Now, there were big question marks at the start over Mercedes tyre wear, but first and fourth shows that they have genuine pace this season. And shout out to Lotus, especially Kimi Raikkonen, who started in 11th place and managed to finish in second. Our teammate Sam Bird could only manage 12th, and what a result for Jules Bianchi. He started at the back and he has finished in 11th place. And yeah, just took a quick look at the strategy, and you can see the Force Indias and Hamilton, and as well as Bianchi, in fact, did the 2-stop strategy. But yeah, there is the Drivers' Championship. Of course, it is the same as the way the race results finished. Fernando Alonso was the other driver making up the podium, I did fail to mention. But good points for Adrian Sutil and Paul di Resta as well in what is not a great Force India, it has to be said. But there is the constructors' standings. We're in 4th. Mercedes are leading the way at the moment, but it is very, very early days. Make sure you guys join me next time as we visit the Sepang International Circuit for round number 2 of the 2013 season. Make sure to drop a like down below if you have enjoyed today's video, and leave a like with your thoughts down below. And yeah, it's really, really good to have this series back. I will be bringing it weekly to you. Hopefully, I've also recorded the Malaysia race. It's a good one. Make sure to join me then. Bye-bye.